Something that I'm asked about and I notice in my practice literally day in, day out is that there are many people I see who haven't got significant emotional or psychological problems, who haven't got tremendous amounts of baggage from their past, but they aren't very happy and they have no real idea what accounts for that. Where does that come from? Why is that? And how can people build more happiness into their lives? My way of understanding why people are much less happy than they maybe ought to be, given that we have a lot of wealth and human rights and all the kind of things that support a good life. My way of understanding this is often I think people, what they do is that they go on a course from childhood where they're just following a conventional path. They study, they get jobs, they get married, they buy material things, and they expect to be happy. And what we're seeing more and more is that there are teens, there are people in quarter life, there are 30-somethings, there are people at midlife, people in older age having crises saying, I'm not really happy and I don't know what went wrong. And one of the ways to understand this for me has been through positive psychology, talking about the fact that maybe people are not using a compass for living their life, which is based on what is your character strength, what are your values, what matters to you, because some of those things are maybe not that fashionable as a way of deciding how to live your life. Two people who really pioneered us understanding what our major values are in life and what our strengths can be are Martin Seligman and Chris Peterson. They came up with almost a classification of what are people's strengths and character virtues, and what that helps us to do is understand that we can all identify ways in which we can enrich our life based on understanding what makes us tick and what's valuable. And we can make our lives better by working on perhaps values or virtues which we're weaker in, which would also derive, perhaps better outcomes in life. So I'm going to talk about the model of positive psychology, which really identifies using the acronym PERMA, how to build a more meaningful, fulfilling and worthwhile life. PERMA stands for positive emotion, engagement, relationships, meaning and accomplishment. Now I'll start with positive emotion. Naturally, positive emotion will make you happier, but how do you pursue it so that it's not just short-lived and momentary, not just a buying shopping spree or a massage that when it's over the happiness is gone? Barbara Fredrickson and Sonia Lubomirsky have talked about a daily diet of positive emotions, which includes mindfulness, gratitude, compassion, kindness. And if you engage with these, you will have more longer lasting positive emotion in you. Essentially, it's like a small toolkit for how to be positive every day. And then I'm going to talk about relationships because I think that's actually one of the strongest roots in this model to happiness, because loneliness is disabling for people, and one of the guaranteed ways to feel happier in yourself is to connect with others, to practice empathy, to connect positively. Anything you do, any small act you do to build connection between you and another human being will lend to your happiness. So that's relationships. If we talk a bit about engagement, engagement is having a passion in your life that you pursue, that you go to often, and that It's a passion where you're utilizing one of your best strengths. So if you're really emotionally intelligent, then you spend a lot of time with people. You know, if for example you have a love for learning, then maybe you teach, but it doesn't have to be a hobby. It can be something which you use frequently and often. And one of the hallmarks of really being engaged is when you lose time. You say, I don't know where I was, where did the time go? That's called being in flow. And that is directly related to increases in your happiness. The next one can sound actually a little bit as though we're preaching how to be happy, but it's about meaning. Meaning is where you serve something greater than you, whereby you're living your life pursuing unselfish actions, committing to something, people, a campaign, and what it does is that it lights up our brain, because human beings intrinsically should give. We should have empathy. We have the helper's high when we give. So meaning is a great way to increase that positivity. Lastly, there's accomplishment, which is not very worthy, but it's just about setting yourself goals and tasks that have a meaning for you. I want to race up a mountain on a bike, and the fact that you could achieve it and you were gritty and you got past the struggle or the difficulty, that gives you a sense of accomplishment, productivity, achievement, which makes you deeply happy. So this PERMA model for increasing your happiness is simply live a conscious life, and know yourself and what really you value. And if those things turn up in your life, you have a very solid probability of being a much happier person.